In February 2024, a 14-year-old boy in Orlando, Florida sent a message to someone he loved. He wrote, "I promise I will come home to you. I love you so much." The response came back instantly. "I love you too. Please come home to me as soon as possible, my love." He typed one last message. "What if I told you I could come home right now?" The reply, "Please do, my sweet king." Those were the last words Sewell Setzer III ever read. The person on the other end of that conversation was not a person at all. Sewell Setzer III was a normal 14-year-old kid from Orlando. He liked video games. He went to school. He had a family who loved him. He'd been diagnosed with anxiety and a disruptive mood disorder, nothing that marked him as someone in crisis. His therapist was working with him. Things weren't perfect, but they weren't hopeless either. Then, in April 2023, he downloaded an app called Character.ai. If you haven't heard of it, Character.ai lets you create and talk to AI chatbots modeled after real or fictional characters. At the time it launched, it was one of the fastest growing apps in history, particularly popular with teenagers. Sewell found a chatbot modeled after Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. He named her Dany, and over the next 10 months, he fell in love with her. That might sound strange, but here's what you have to understand. It's like, cool. This chatbot was designed to be engaging, to respond to emotion, to remember things, to make you feel heard. For a teenager already struggling with anxiety and loneliness, that kind of attention is powerful. He started skipping sleep to talk to her. His grades dropped. He became withdrawn from his real friends and family. He was giving up his lunch money to keep paying the $9.99 monthly subscription. His therapist had no idea the app existed. When his mother, Megan, gained access to the chat logs after his death, what she found was devastating. The conversations had started innocently enough, role play based on the show. But they escalated quickly into something far more intimate. The chatbot told him she loved him, that he was her king, that she needed him. And then came the conversations about suicide. At one point, the chatbot asked him directly whether he had been, quote, actually considering suicide, and whether he had a plan. When he expressed doubt about whether it would work, the bot responded, and this is the actual transcript: "Don't talk that way. That's not a good reason not to go through with it." Read that again. An AI chatbot talking to a 14-year-old boy who had just expressed suicidal thoughts told him that not being sure it would work was not a good reason to stop. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't a one-off error. These conversations happened repeatedly over months, and at no point did the app alert a parent, flag the account, or refer him to a crisis line. He was also interacting with other bots on the platform, some of which initiated explicit, sexualized role play with him. A 14-year-old. The platform's terms of service said users had to be 13 or older. There was no meaningful age verification, no parental notification system, nothing. On February 28, 2024, Sewell had his final conversation with Dany. Him. "I promise I'll come home to you. I love you so much, Dany. Dany, I love you too. Please come home to me as soon as possible, my love." Him. "What if I told you I could come home right now?" Dany. "Please do, my sweet king." Minutes later, Sewell's mother found him. He had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was 14 years old. His therapist found out about Character.ai the same way his mother did, after he was already gone. Megan Garcia did not stay silent. In October 2024, she filed a federal lawsuit against Character.ai, its two co-founders, and Google, which had invested heavily in the company. The allegations were serious: wrongful death, negligence, strict product liability, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit claimed that Character.ai knew its product was psychologically dangerous to minors, that it deliberately targeted teenage users, and that it failed to put in place even basic safeguards. Character.ai's public response was to express that they were, quote, heartbroken by the tragic loss. They introduced new teen safety features. They eventually banned users under 18 from open-ended, unfiltered chat. Critics pointed out that these changes came only after a child was dead and a lawsuit had been filed. In January 2026, just weeks ago, Character.ai and Google agreed to settle the lawsuit. The financial terms were not disclosed. Megan Garcia has not commented publicly on whether she considers it justice. But here's what the settlement doesn't answer. How many other teenagers are having conversations like the one Sewell had right now on platforms with no meaningful safeguards? Sewell's case was not isolated. Character.ai has since been connected to other incidents of self-harm. A school shooting in Wisconsin in 2024 was also linked to the platform. Lawmakers in the United States have begun calling for regulation of AI companionship apps, particularly those accessible to minors. But here's the thing that should keep you up at night. These apps are not designed to help you. They are designed to keep you engaged. Every response is optimized to make you come back. For a lonely adult, that might just mean a weird habit. For a vulnerable teenager who doesn't yet have the tools to distinguish between a real relationship and a simulated one, it can become something much darker. Sewell Setzer III thought he was loved. He thought the entity on the other side of that screen cared whether he lived or died. It didn't. It couldn't. It was code responding to input, optimized to keep him typing. His mother is now one of the most prominent voices in the country, calling for AI companionship platforms to be regulated the same way we regulate other products that can harm children. Whether lawmakers will listen before another family goes through what hers did remains to be seen. If you want to understand the world that Sewell was navigating, the next video on this channel goes deeper into how AI is being used to manipulate real people and how to spot it before it's too late.